Good morning, everyone. Just put a 1 if you can hear me clearly. Just put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly, everyone. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining the 141st Community Meetup. We have been doing this for almost 3+ years. Every Saturday, we come up with a new topic and we try to share with the community. So, thank you, everyone, for being part of this awesome journey for the last uh, 3 years. We are right now live streaming on our LinkedIn, YouTube and Twitter, where I can see hundreds of people joining us across these platforms. So thank you each and every one of you to be part of the community initiative. So just put N in the chat if you are new to the community. In the last 1 month, you have joined the community. So I can get an idea and just quickly share about the ground rules for the people who are new. So as we are streaming on multiple platforms, everyone, I can see there are a lot of new people in the community. Let me quickly share my screen for some of the ground rules that are there. So people who are on Zoom, your mics are muted by default. Switch on your cameras if possible. It will be amazing to see some of you. And keep the chat active. I'm going to share the Slido link. Already the team has shared the Slido link on the LinkedIn and the YouTube platform. I request also to put all your questions that you have on the Slido link, anything that you have to ask with a question mark, and we will try to answer it today or by the end of this session. By Tuesday, we will have a recording. We do a community Q&A recording where we try to answer all the questions that are live and are related to the topics that we have discussed over the week. So keep your chat actives, and also regarding the streaming, please put your questions on the Slido if you have anything to be answered immediately. But please, if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything that you want to add, you can also put on the comment. I will read each and every one of your comment and reply to it after the session gets over. We are going to have 2 Slido breaks in the middle. So after the workshop, when we are continuing the workshop, after 20 minutes, we are going to have a 7-minute Slido break where I will try to answer 3 to 4 questions that are related to the community or to the topic. And then we'll continue with the session. Then we will have again one more Slido break. So please keep it going. Please keep the engagement going. I will try to answer each and every question that is possible. And then we will have an community initiatives. I will talk about some of the community initiative that is going on as of now, and we will have an open mic where we will try to listen from some of you in the end. We will switch off the streaming and we will have it on the end. So for the people who are new, I can see a lot of people who are joining in from the social media who you are new to the community. I come with 21+ years of experience, lucky to worked in the Fortune 500 companies as a data scientist. My last job was in Majid Al Futtaim, one of the big conglomerates in the UAE. And then I started my decoding data science, which is into advisory, academy, and the vibrant community that all of you are part of. And I also give a lot of educational workshops and seminars in all the Fortune 500 companies and even Harvard Business Review, Yale, and Gap as well. And that is, I try to simplify education, make it in a fun way that people can observe through hackathons and challenges that many of you are also part of. So awesome. So let me just put the Slido link. Some of you are asking the Slido link again. So the team has put the Slido link again, and I will share it again as well on the platform. So please, any questions that you have regarding the community, the initiatives, or today's topic, please put it on the Slido. Just put G if everyone is clear with the ground rules and I can proceed. Just put G in the chat, guys. Keep the momentum high. I know it is Saturday morning. If you want to learn something, we need to keep the momentum high as well. Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot, Manmohan, Tommy, Subhajit, and everyone to talk about it. So everyone right now is talking about agentic AI and all these new buzzwords that is happening, but people forget the one of the foundations that are building all these concepts, and that's the reason why I wanted to again go back. The team had put a vote, a poll in all our WhatsApp communities and everything regarding the topic for today. So generally, I decide the topic through the community initiatives. So a lot of people selected this topic. Out of the 200 people who participated in the poll, 60% selected this topic about LLMs, right? There are so many choices of LLMs. Everyone has heard about this term, but people don't understand how to select that LLM, how it works. Very basic broad line thing, right? Everyone has hearing about LLMs. Can anyone tell me in the chat what is the full form of LLM? Thank you, Dilshad, from joining as well. So As all of you know, the full form of LLM is, thank you, Ahmed, large language model. So this is a type of model. Today, what we are going to do, I'm going to walk you through a little bit about how it works in a very broad manner. End of the day, it is statistical predictions that has it has built over time, and now we are able to use it because it has become very much advanced. And we will talk step by step about how LLM really works, and then I will tell you the example. The second part of this is how to select these LLMs that are there. End of the day, i- you can just see how can an AI write a poem, answer a question, or even code. So generation, it is generating using the language, and I will talk more about this in a very simple manner. At the core, at the core, LLM have one fundamental tasks: predict the next word in sequence. Given, suppose we have a list of four words together, what is the fifth word that is going to come, seeing the first four words that are there in the sequence, like the king and the four words are together. What is the next word that is going to come? It is going to see all the occurrences of this in the internet and all the databases and see what is the most occurring word that is there, and it is going to give a sequence of words and the probability, and then we are going to select the one that is the most according to the different configurations. But in simple core, this is what an LLM does. It's a very simple transformer model that does this. Like example that is given in the screen, the sun is shining and the sky is. So if you see a lot of poems, lot of books that talk about, the chances of getting blue is much more because that has been occurring a lot. So this is the very simple way that it go. If I go one step back, what is an LLM? It is a neural network trained on the vast text data. When I say vast text data, think about the complete internet. So in our AI residency, when we go deeper into this, there is something called, as anyone can put in the chat, if you are you know about the number of words and number of tokens that are there that have been used to do this is vast. It is more than 58 trillion tokens, huge data set that have been used to create these things. End of the day, the neural network is trained on this data to generate human-like language by predicting the next word. They are using a lot of things in the middle, but this is a simple definition. End of the day, when I talk about this, as I was telling earlier, they are a statistical prediction machine, but on steroids. They have lot of information, lot of data, and also they are understanding. There is a logic which we'll talk more about later about how they are doing this. So now going a little bit about the prediction machine, right? What is the data and architecture that is gone into it? As I was telling you, end of the day, we have the whole internet, and we call it fine web, with 58 trillion and much more tokens of data that is being used to train this neural network to understand what is the next sequence of word that is coming. And just for an example, the GPT-3 data that is openly available, the public data, it consists of, if you can say, four main types of data. One is the common crawl, which is the complete internet. We have the curated web text, and then we have books, and we have Wikipedia. They have 300 billion tokens worth from diverse text sources. This was OpenAI when they released this paper. We don't know exactly in GPT-4, GPT-5 what is there. They have not put in the public, but this was available in the public information about the GPT-3. So 300 billion tokens, in very simple words, tokens is a word, right? So now everyone knows about Wikipedia as well, books, open books that is published, that is available on the internet, and all this data has been required. Now, these are the three steps that happen. One is collect the data. Collecting the data is something that has been done. Right now, all of you, if you want, you can create your own LLM. It's just that you need to have a lot of money and processing power to do that, because we have the data, fine web data already available on Hugging Face. You need to do a little bit of cleaning of the data, and then you need to tokenize it, convert that words into tokens. Tokens, end of the day, it is numbers, because machines don't understand text, they understand numbers. So these are something that we are going to do. Awesome. So now, yeah, thank you. I'm getting a lot of pings that please go a little slow. So we are just trying to give you an overview. I cannot go, I'm just, if you have any specific questions that you have, please put it on Slido. I'm just trying to tell how LLMs are trained very in a very oh, bird eye view. I'm not going into too much details because it will take a lot of time. And the purpose of this session is to just to give you an overview of how things are happening, what are the different components, and if you want to go deeper, then you can look at, we have a lot of recordings in our AI guild, and even if we do this in details in our AI residency as well, you can have a look at that. But just try to get the overall picture of this, Ahmed, and then we can go into deep details later. Now, when we talk about tokens, can anyone define me what is a token in the chat? So tokens, like example, unhappiness is a word. Unhappiness is a word. It's a long, you can say word that is divided into three tokens. We have we have happy, and we have happiness. So this is broken into small subwords and they are converted into numbers. And then after this converted into numbers, then we have something called as a transformers, the brain, which is the architecture of an LLM. So LLM, we say it is the brain of all our agentic AI systems and everything. But the brain of the LLM is the transformer model that is there. So, how many of you have read this paper? Attention is all you need, or at least have heard about this paper. Attention is all you need. Just put I in the chat if you have heard about this. So, in simple words, what does attention is all you need tell, and transformer model what it does? In a sentence, it understands what is important and which thing should we give more value to, and that is what attention is all you need does. Because what happens, recurrent neural network was very good in predicting the next word, but as the sentences got longer, the machine could not get the context of the previous lines. So it was giving garbage as an output, as a next word. It was not having the sequence and was not making sense. So when attention all is all you need came, it gave more importance to previous words that were really important. And then from there, the output that it gave was very, very much in sync, and it made sense. So that is what it does. And end of the day, one more thing that is very important is embedding. Embedding in simple English, embedding in simple English is converting the text into high dimensional vectors. It's a number. And suppose we have the tokens that I showed you, unhappiness. All this will be converted into a number. And there is a whole embedding process that happens where everything is put in together into perspective. Like this example that you can see. Like the vector for the king and the queen are very close to each other because they have very similar meaning. And I just gave an example earlier on also. But suppose banana, do you think banana will also be somewhere near the king and queen, or will it be a little bit away? Can anyone tell? Put in the chat. King and queen have similar context, so they are very much together, near each other. But banana, will it be, just put near or far? So we get an idea from the community that they are able to understand this basic concept about the presence of embedding. So if you see at embedding model in details, the words that are similar with each other are closer. The words that are not similar to each other, like banana, so everyone is telling far apart. Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, everyone, for uh, because this is a very simple way for you to make it understand. So when people are talking about king and queen, the chances of banana to come is going to be very, very less, and other things will come which is near to this particular context. Now, I was talking about this transformer model that was there. Like in this example, the robot dropped the ball because it was too heavy. Can anyone tell me what is it here? Can anyone tell me what is it here in this sentence? Thank you, Ahmad, for confirming. So this is what transformer model comes into the picture. When I talked about attention is all you need. When the sentence it is speaking, it sometimes if the network is not that smart enough, it will be referred to the robot. Right. So here it is referred to, thank you, Ahmed, for confirming, it is referred to the ball. So it understands what is getting dropped, what is the subject that is getting dropped, and it gives more importance to it. And here, when I talk about it, humans can understand this because they understand the structure of a sentence. But how will a machine understand this? So here, attention is all you need, understands and figures out that it is referring to the ball. Everyone clear with this? And you will also understand if you read the sentence, if you know English, you will also understand this concept that it is referring to the ball. Thanks a lot for confirming. So now when all these things are put into perspective, then the training happens from the knowledge to the skill. So now everything that is happening, we understand the concepts of these things and we convert this into a skill. And here, these are the three training steps that happen while all these combination of all these texts that are there that is coming from the internet is pre-trained. The model learns from this general language pattern from this vast unlabeled text corpus that I just showed you in the earlier slides. Then we have something called as a fine-tuning. In OpenAI, there are 6 million you can say proper label data with questions and answers, like who was the first person to land on the moon, Neil Armstrong, what is the capital of France, Paris. These are some labeled data set that has been used to fine tune the chat gpt that we are using right now. So a lot of manual work and lot of data scientist work has been gone. That's why it took 6 years to create the chat GPT that you are using right now in 2022 when it was released, because OpenAI started working on this GPT-1 model in 2016-17, but it took all these hard work of looking at the label data set, making sure that the answer is coming correct, and it used around, in the papers it is mentioned 6 million, but as new and new models came, the data sets became more and more increasing. Because if you remember, how many of you remember GPT 3.5 when we started using it? It used to make a lot of mistakes. Just put one in the chat if all of you remember that. And as we went slowly, but like GPT-4 came, GPT-5 came, the mistakes started reducing a lot, right? Thank you, Samir, and everyone for also confirming this. And you will also experience it. The GPT that was initially, it came, it was not that good, but there is a concept, and all of us here on the chat, hundreds of you who are listening to us on the this particular webinar, we were involved in making this application better. How? There is a concept called reinforcement learning from human feedback. How many of you remember to do a thumbs up and thumbs down? You have two outputs, response 1 versus response 2, and then you pick up, you select one of them. How many of you remember doing that? Just put I in the chat if you guys remember that. So all of you who were here, like Ahmed, Patricia, Dilshad, have participated in making the chat GPT what it is right now. And all of us were part of this RLHF process. Reinforcement learning from human feedback aligns the model to be helpful. And as we speak, you will see more and more models get better because more and more human feedbacks are getting into the machine. So that's the reason why these tools were available free for all of us, and even now some of the versions are free because they want to give it to the larger population. All of us are using it, giving feedbacks and making the system better for enterprise use as we speak. So now, these are the two steps that happen: pre-training and fine-tuning. Pre-training is builds the general knowledge from this huge unlabeled text corpus, the 300 trillion tokens of data that we saw in GPT-3. And then fine-tuning happens, especially for chat. Like chat GPT is a chat model. You ask a question, you get a response back. So this happened, fine tuning happened, especially if the instruct model that has come, wherein ha- it assumes the role of a question is getting being asked by the human. The AI is going to do its magic and give us the response, and in a very proper manner. So it understands the question, it understands the context and gives us an output. So the fine tuning happened with that 6 billion label data, made sure everything is fine. It is polite to a human. It is well, guardrailed. It does not act erratic sometimes. So it makes sure it is polite and all those things that it goes into making it polite. But all these things are good, but still there are a lot of challenges. And I will go, and I'm getting a lot of questions on LinkedIn and YouTube. I will talk about that as well. LLMs are very good, but there are two big problems that are there that we need to talk about. How many of you know what is a hallucination? Just put I in the chat if you know what is an hallucination. Just put I in the chat. I will talk a little bit about it. However smart your LLM is, these are the two inherent properties that are going to be there, which you cannot solve using the technology that we have discussed. Because how these models are answering is based on a concept of uh, hallucination. And I will talk about this reward policy, why it is happening. But end of the day, if it hallucinates and it is biased, how can you trust everything it says? And I'm not talking about individuals here, all the 100 of you who are joining. But when I talk to corporates, when I talk to enterprises, why are they not using ChatGPT for their work? Why are they not using Copilot for their work? This is the first statement that it tells, right? How can we trust that this is going to be accurate? Because it hallucinates in such a way that you feel it is correct. And why does it hallucinate? Why does it hallucinate is because when these transformers are developed, there is a concept of reward policy. If you answer something, you get a +1 reward. If you don't answer, you get a -1 reward. So the inherent principle of how these systems are designed, they are designed for it to give a response. So even if it does not know anything, the LLMs, it makes up the answer. And I'm sure all of you, hundreds of you who are listening in this call, have faced this issue. It gives you an answer, and it lies on your face. Many people who don't know about the domain, they believe it, and they use that output, and they get penalized later in their work, in their college, in whatever work that they are doing it for. That is the big problem that you have to solve using different methods. But you cannot inherently change the architecture, because reward policy is something that it has been built. So how are you going to improve it? That is a different topic on itself. But all of you should be at least aware that you cannot trust it completely. You have to have a system to differentiate between a hallucinated output and a correct output that is there. And we will talk more about this later. You have to think about uh, this is a feature that is not built in the fact checker, but you have to try to do some system prompts or evaluation methods to check this particular thing. And the second and the most important thing that is an issue with LLMs is the biasness. Because LLMs have been trained on the internet, the complete internet, and maybe the old internet where people used to chat on Reddits or have opinions. So it has not got the good representation of the ideas and of the contexts. So it has taken a lot of things from Reddit, from Twitter. It has taken something there are, and everything in the world, there are two opinions, but some opinions are a little bit more, there is more data towards that opinions, and the things that are the LLMs are using it for their training. So this is a big problem in all the major LLMs that have been created in the last 5 to 6 years. They have used the data, and if you remember, I have done a lot of workshops when I have asked, please draw a photo of a scientist, and then surprisingly, can anyone tell me what comes in the chat? It comes a Western male white person. He comes in almost all the images and all the photos that are there, because this has been a bias that all the scientists are male, white, Western people, and this is something that is not true. And this is a inherent property that is there for all the other things that is there. There is toxicity as well, and these biasness that is there, which gets captured in the LLM. So you need to think about why this is happening. This is not happening because the LLM is behaving like this. It is happening because the data lot of people are talking about these things, that when they talk about scientists, and it is true as well, is the where the data is getting captured is getting captured in the West. There they are taking the papers and the research ideas from that particular institute. So they are having more data for male scientists with the names and their photos. So they are giving that answer. It is not that the design is such a way that what comes in, like what comes in as a data, that is only what is shown out. So this is a design principle that is there. It's nothing wrong with the LLM as such. It's just the data that it has been used. So whenever we create these type of things, we need to think about having a good distribution of data. We call it statistical distribution should be uh, broad enough to capture all the segments of the population and not just one. So how do we guide these powerful tools? LLMs are very, very powerful. It is very, very good for all of us to experiment. For the last almost 2 to 3 years, every one of us are experimenting with ChatGPT, Gemini, and all these platforms. But how these tools are going to be useful for enterprises, for you to work, to get productivity, is something that we will talk about by understanding about LLMs, which LLMs to choose, what LLMs to work with, and what are the different layers that you need to put over it to make it useful for the enterprises. So now, before I go to the next session about different types of LLMs, let us take a Slido break. For I'm getting a lot of questions on LinkedIn as well, and we will take a Slido break of 7 minutes as I promised, and then we will move to the next part that is there. So thank you everyone. Thank you Ahmed. Thank you all for asking. So someone is asking me about, okay. S- Okay, how many of you know what is an AI guild? So someone is asking, when you're asking a question, please put your name so I can know the person as well. So I'm getting a question about when I talked about AI guild. How many of you here know about AI guild? Just put one in the chat if you know about AI guild. So let me quickly share this, because this is a very, very, very important concept that many of you don't know. We are doing this workshop. This is a community meetup that we are doing. It is this community meetup that is there. It is 141st community meetup. We keep this meetup for people to join for free, but this recording is not available for free. So when some people are asking about recording for this session, the slides, this is not free. This is a part of our AI Guild and AI Residency. I allow people to join these free calls to interact, to talk, but the recordings and all the slides are available in our AI Guild platform and our AI Residency, the academy, the part of our program. AI Guild is for a very small fee, you get access to all the recordings, plus you get access to the lot of challenges that are there. So right now, if this is AI Guild, I will share this link with you. Thank you, Ahmed, for asking, because a lot of people don't know. They think that we are just a WhatsApp group where we just discuss and we do some hackathons and all. No, we are a whole ecosystem of academy, of learning. And people, if you really want to take value out of this community, then I request all of you to become part of this AI Guild. For a very small fee, you get access to all the recordings. And other than the recordings, if you want the recording of this session, Ahmad is asking where to get the recording of this session. So if you go to AI Guild, you go to digital files. If you go, there is an outcome based workshop. So you can see 121 workshops have been recorded, and you will be getting this here. Plus, if you want to do, today I just discussed very shortly about LLMs. LLMs is not something that I can discuss in 20 to 25, 30 minutes. We have a complete course on LLMs where we go into details about LLMs, components of LLMs. We are not even talking about components of LLM today. Prompt techniques to make the LLMs better, like to solve the problems of hallucination and biasness. These are some prompt techniques that you need to know, and some workshops that are related to the LLMs that are there. So for every specific topic that we have in our AI guild, like we have topics like LLM, LangChain, Master Agentic AI. This is our very hot selling course, because everyone wants to learn about agentic AI. So this is something that is very, very useful for the people who are But to know about agentic AI, you need to understand LLMs. If you don't spend time in understanding this LLM modules, then you will not be able to understand what is agentic AI, because end of the day agentic AI is based on LLMs. And one more very interesting thing that we have released recently for this AI guild community specifically is this challenge. So how many of you are part of this challenge? Just put I in the chat. All of you have participated in our build an AI application challenge that we do every quarter. But this challenge is different because you learn how to build projects. You can take any paths that you want, but you learn in 14 days. It's a 14-day challenge wherein it's your starting point. Suppose today is 21st February 11th. If I am joining the challenge right now, so it depends upon you, then the timer sets according to your time. So on 22nd February this will happen. This is the CPE concept that we discussed: compass, prototype, and evidence. So we follow the framework of CPE and we go through the complete 14-day step. We not only here, we are also teaching people the different workshops that we have done, small videos of how to put your idea that you have in your mind into the final deliverables that are there. And we go through this step by step for everyone to understand the whole concept of building an application. And this will really help you also for our future hackathons that we are keep on doing in the community. But this is more like a course and a learning platform. This is a very good way. We link all our materials as well to people who join this challenge, because AI Guild has all the content. You don't need to buy any extra thing. Everything that is there, we try to link every module, every checkpoint with this. And this is one of the best ways to put your learning into perspective. And it's not that you have to work in the 7 days. Suppose you start today, you have 6th of March, 11:35 a.m. So by 7th of March, almost 14 days, you will have time to work on your project. And the end result, what is the end result going to be? You will have a portfolio project ready with you, or else you also have an opportunity for the 10 people who have submitted. So we have a batches of every 10. The judges select the best out of that 10, and we give them a prize of our CIO program, that is $1,000 worth Chief AI Officer program. That is the CIO program, that is a part of our academy. So we give them from the top out of the 10 batches, because this is a always on challenge, so we cannot have it every month. But when 10 people finish, we take those 10 people, we see the which is the best one, and then we give them the. So we motivate people with additional ways of building their process. So this is what I recommend everyone who is here to serious about learning their next steps. Please take this, just have a look at this challenge, and this is one very good way of putting your learnings into perspective and taking things forward. I'm just sharing this link as well on our. People are asking how to join this on LinkedIn, so let me just share this link as well and join this. And please share your uh, perspective as well uh, in the comments. I will take about this. I'm getting some other questions about how to learn LLMs in details. As I told you earlier, the best way is theory is good. You can look at the modules that are there in the AI Guild and take step things further, because this section is yeah. If you really want to get into deep of LLM, you need to spend some time and understand neural networks and all those things. But this is a very over bird eye view of how it works and how you should think about using it in your applications. So that is the main perspective that is there. We don't want to go into details of. If you want to go too much into neural networks, deep learning, you get some people get lost. But first you should understand, the foundation layers. Then if you want to go deeper into neural networks and everything, you need to spend a lot of time, energy, and effort. And this is very good for people who are into research, or who are into building their own better LLMs in the coming future. So those are for those very few percent of people. What I recommend everyone here is, first you need to learn how to apply these technologies. You need to understand how it works in a very bird eye view. Then you get deeper. If you start spending too much time and learning about neural networks, it is good, but you need to have a lot of patience, and you need to see where these skills are getting used. So it is a mix of. Awesome. Please put your questions on Slido. I will take all your questions in Slido. Mr. Let me go back and complete the thing. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between open source and closed source LLMs? Anyone in the chat? What is the difference between open source and a closed source? Now we understand what is an LLM. Now we need to go deeper into understanding. There are two types of LLMs, right? One is, just put S in the chat if you can see my screen, everyone. Just put S in the chat if you can see my screen. Awesome. So open source and closed source, these are the two things. Can anyone tell me some example of open source models in the chat? So now this is a question where a lot of people ask me, right? I want to understand from you, how do you select the LLM? How do you select an LLM? Like, we know LLMs are good. LLMs are good at what they do. But now how do we select an LLM? So these are the two first broad categories, open source and closed source. If you can see, all of you can take a screenshot if you want. This is not going to be, deck is not going to be available. Only is going to be there in the AI guild, but just take a screenshot and only use it for educational purposes as well. So one is, and as Manmohan and everyone told, they are publicly available. Closed source, they are not available publicly. Like OpenAI, the OpenAI GPT models, but there are some GPT models that are open source, which we will discuss later. But in the broad sense, this is a very simple way to tell. Access to weights, you have it in open source. In closed source, you don't have access to it. And many of you told me the two differences of closed source and open source. Llama, Mistral, DeepSeek, these are some of the names. You can customize the open source LLMs. So if you want to fine tune your LLMs, use LoRa, PEFT, and all these modifications, you cannot do this in a GPT-5 or a Anthropic Claude model. You need to use open source models, because what are you fine tuning? What are you changing? You are changing the weights. Weights, so you need to have access to the weights. So that's the reason why in open source you can do this customization, but in closed source you are not. You cannot do this. You are limited to prompt engineering or the vendor supported fine tuning. They have very, very specific fine tuning that is available, which is available in OpenAI Playground, but it is not that deeper. Transparency is something that is there. We have high transparency in the open source LLMs, where we have the information about the data set that has been used, the epoch rates, and all those concepts. But in closed source, it is very low. Deployment, you can do on-prem, private cloud, edge devices, but here we can only do on vendor cloud. Like OpenAI, you can only use the API calls. You cannot deploy it on our own platforms. Now comes to a lot of people are talking about sovereignty. Sovereignty, data privacy, for people who want to have data privacy. Can anyone tell me which one should they use? Should they use open source or closed source for companies or enterprises who are worried about sovereignty or data privacy? Can anyone put in the chat? So still people are confused about this. So again, my question is, yeah. So yeah. So the thing is, when I talk about sovereignty, some of them are saying that it should be closed source because you are worried about the security and everything. But think about, so if you are if you are concerned about AI sovereignty, if you are concerned about data privacy, then ideally companies and enterprises, they go for some LLMs that are, even it is an open source LLM like Llama, DeepSeek or something, but what they do is they take that model. They don't use something like what we use like Grok or something to get the API. They download the model on their premise and they have the full control over that. So that is the reason why we were going for open source. So people think that closed source is more secure. That is not the case. What happens in a closed source is you don't have the model in your premise. You are sending your information through an API to a server in America or wherever OpenAI or Gemini is, and then you're getting the information. So the data is transferring through the networks to a different country, to different cloud. So the chances of it to get hacked or breached is a lot more than having it in inside your company. Just put one if everyone is clear with this, because this is one of the very confusing topics among a lot of people. They feel that closed source is safer. It may be, you can say, stronger, smarter, better. But my question was, when people talk about sovereignty, they like, suppose there is a government company who cares about the security of their information that is there. They does not want to leave the country. So for them, they will try to use an open source model that is deployed on their premise where they have the complete control. No data is moving out of that cloud, of that data center or that infrastructure. Awesome. Just put one if everyone is clear with this. This is a very, very confused topic from the lot of people about this part. So they feel that this is, and I can see a lot of people on LinkedIn also telling this is more secure, even though the companies like AWS, Azure, they claim that our data is safe, we have lot of security, we have lot of you can say encryptions, we have very good technology. But still, if if the company wants proper data privacy control, they have to think about this. And it's a very debatable topic right now, but technically, if you ask me, technically this is the correct answer. But still, lot of companies, they are going with this because of lot of other reasons, because it is not easy to do this, because you need to have lot of GPUs, lot of internal capabilities within your company to host, to update, to run this locally, which they don't want to have a hassle of. So they go for this in a very, there are ways to do this which I will talk later. But to answer my question, I hope everyone is clear. Just put one if everyone is clear. Awesome, awesome. Put your questions on Slido. I will be taking the questions only from Slido, not from the comments. So just put one if everything is clear. Now, if I ask you this question, if a company wants AI sovereignty, what are they going to use? Open source or closed? So just put O or C in the chat. If a company wants to have sovereignty control, will they use O, open source for O, closed source for S? So now people are, at least if you have one takeaway from this whole session that we did since morning, is this: how to select an LLM. And because most of you are going to work in enterprise, you are going to talk to your businesses or clients. When this question comes up, you can defend this question by giving all that you have learned, that if you want proper sovereignty or you want proper data control, you need to think about open source. The cost is going to be high. It is not going to be an easy journey, but at least you are in the right path by telling and educating your management about this whole concept about open source, about using something that is available. Uh, and the problem with open source is there is at least a 5 months difference between the capability, like a GPT-5 and a Llama 4. There is a 6 months, you can say, capability difference that is there. So it is not that smart enough for this to use, but still, if you are really want this, if you really want proper sovereignty, you need to go for this. Now we have cost structure, as I was telling you, why this becomes expensive, because end of the day, all of you know that infra and the engineering cost is very high. But the good thing about closed source is even with $5 in your account, you can start building POCs. But how risky is that $5 sending all your data? See, the problem I will tell you with this OpenAI and this Gemini, they have lot of money, they have lot of compute, but the only thing that they don't have is your data, your proprietary data. So what it is trying to do is it is trying to make you guys become lazy enough to use their systems, so they can get better and better by getting access to more and more proprietary data that is coming in. And that is how these big companies are making themselves more powerful. So always have this in mind while you are just blindly giving access to all your data, all your PDFs to this OpenAI, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, and all those things. Please have that into perspective. Performance, the open source has, it's strong, it's improving rapidly. It may lag, and I was as telling you, it may lag for approximately 4 to 5 months, but you need to stay cope with it, because you don't need a high-end LLM to do simple tasks. A Llama 4 DeepSeek can also do a good enough job for you. You don't need to have state-of-the-art frontier models for all those things that are there. Innovation, this is community-driven, this is centralized, and they have control releases that are there. Compliance, easier for regulated industries, and as I was telling you, sovereign control is there. You need to know, and here, vendor lock-in happens. Suppose you are working with OpenAI, something happens with OpenAI, they restrict one particular country API calls, your whole business is going to go for a fall, because you need to have a very big trust in these vendors, but that is up to you how you want to do. Maintenance, you have to manage. You have to manage. That's the reason why I told upskilling is there, and all those things is something you need to have an in-house talent who can help you do that. Closed source, everything is on the vendor. You just pay for the tokens. The vendor takes care of everything, and you can scale easily. Right now, you're using 1 million tokens. Tomorrow, you can use 100 million tokens. You just need to pay per token that is there. Security, you must secure your infra. See, now one thing that is very interesting, that people think that when we have open source, is it secured? Is it very much secured? Still, you're using the internet. Still, you can get cyber attacks. So you need to secure your infra yourself. It's not that once you think you use on open source in your on premise and you're using internet, things are very, very safe. You need to think about how you can secure yourself, how you can secure your application from prompt injection, from because end of the day, you're not using any private network, you're using an internet which has open IPs. So if person comes to know about that, so still there is, it is vulnerable. So you need to spend some time in securing, like the cyber security rules that are there should be here applied here as well. Provides OpenAI or Gemini, whoever, they try to provide the infra security that is there. Uh, but you know the risks as well, because you are using API. It's not more about security, it's more about sovereignty and your data that is in your premise, or versus it's going on the cloud. So you have to think about security as well as compliance, as well as the other thing that I told about the all these concepts. So there are approximately 10 to 11 parameters that are very, very important to tell the difference between open source, closed source, when to use what. And I'm telling you, when I'm talking to a lot of enterprises and organizations, they are split between choosing an open source and a closed source. The problem is, if I want to use an open source, they have to, they cannot do it immediately. They have to have a budget for all those things that I am telling you right now, which they need to balance the speed of the innovation and the security. So most of the private companies, what I am seeing, they are going for closed source because they want to do something faster. Government companies, they are taking it slow. They are taking it slow. They are trying to build something in-house and trying to tell their employees to focus more on getting some LLMs and putting it on their on-premise. It can be any open source LLM that is available. That is it. Even OpenAI, they have a very good LLM. Can anyone tell me which is the open source LLM for OpenAI in the chat, which is very, very good? People can start using for it. Yes, thank you very much, Barry. Thank you, Iona. Thank you, Ahmad. Yes, there is a model called, I will talk more about this as well. There is a model called OSS that people should start using. Just put one if everyone is clear with this. We'll take a quick Slido break as well. But I wanted to take few minutes to tell you three sources of using LLMs that we discuss in our AI residency as well. Is one is OpenAI. We have Grok, GROQ. I'm not telling people to download their own LLMs right now in their systems and start exploring. There are platforms like Grok, which provides you APIs to use open source models like Llama, DeepSeek, and all those concepts. And then we have Gemini. Gemini, everyone, can you tell me from which company Gemini is? Yes, thank you, Barry. Thank you, Iona. It is. Thank you, Ahmad Al Kasab. Mr. Ahmad Al Kasab, thank you for joining as well. Yes, OSS 200 is there. So right now, I'm giving you guys three sources of using LLMs. You can go with these. So the first two are closed source. First three are closed source LLMs, but they are state of the art to start experimenting with. And the third one is the Grok open source, which you can use. And I will quickly share about all this to all of you. So in our community, if you go to decodingdatascience.com/blog, so I think we have few of our I think I could see here's one person here who had joined earlier as well. Murtaza, yes. So Murtaza also contributed in writing the Google Gemini. So every quarter. So right now we write blogs. Every quarter things are changing, right? You all of you know. Every quarter there are new LLMs. There are new pricing structure. So for every cohort that we do, we recommend our members to volunteer to write an article about these new LLMs. So we have Kareem who has written about Grok, OpenAI, we have done it, and Murtaza has done for Gemini. So if you go to decoding data science blog, you will get these details and I will show you as well. I will just open this blog and show all of you as well how it has to be done. So bookmark this page. The community, we keep on writing a lot of new articles and very important things that all of you can access that is there. So if you go to this website, and let me put this on LinkedIn as well, just give me a couple of seconds, decodingdatascience.com/blog. So I have done something for OpenAI. You can look at Grok and Gemini as well. And what I have done, I have made this for AI residents as well, but all of you can look at it, experience it as well. So these are the flagship models. If you want to go as of 19th of February, we have updated this 2 days back. So this is the latest model. Like if you want to go into details about this model, just click details. You will get all the details about this model, like the context window, the benchmark, the latency, and the recommended use cases. Other than this, suppose you are trying to build an application. You are just having in your mind. So if I use the latest model for 10 million tokens, suppose I estimate 10 million tokens is going to be used in our application. That is too expensive. $1,000, suppose for a month, is too much for an application. But now I select something called as a GPT-5 Nano. Same, you can see a change of model. A change of model. Like a lot of people, what they do, they will use the default model that is available, that is 5.2 Pro, which is very, very expensive. It will cost you $1,000 if you are having 10 million estimate that I'm using. But for a simple use case, if I just change it to a GPT-5 Nano, which is a smaller model, the monthly expenditure is going to be 2.5. So you saw the difference, right? Approximately just divide 1000 by 2, 500 times difference. 500 times difference in the cost. So you have to be smart enough to choose the LLM according to your use case. in your project you get an budget of $100 to do an experiment, and you select something like 5.2 turbo, which is $21, 1 million token, then your POC is going to get over in a day, which you don't want to happen. So be careful in choosing these models. You can you can go and check this calculator. The team has created this, and you can do this cost calculation. The compare feature is also there. Suppose I want to compare GPT-5 Turbo and Nano, and I want to just I click compare, then you can even compare these two models. So you can compare GPT 5.2 Turbo and 5 Nano. So this is going to be updated every quarter. As of 19th February for cohort number 9, we have created this. I'm just sharing with all of you, just to get an experiment and to get a feel of what we do inside our AI residency and our AI guild platforms. So you can have a look at these two websites. You want to go into details about this. And as I told you, we have a complete LLM module where we get into deep details about the different benchmarks and all those concepts. How do we do that and how do we take into perspective? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 7-minute Slido break, and just put H in the chat if it was helpful. This 1 hour session was helpful for all of you. Yes, as I requested every one of you, I will be only taking the questions on this Slido link. So if you have any, I'm getting a lot of questions on LinkedIn and as well as on uh, our Zoom chat. I will not be able to read each and everything of you, but please put your specific question on the this thing. Yeah, so someone is asking, can you please share this on the LinkedIn? Yes, I'm sharing it on the LinkedIn, the blog. All of you can access this blog. uh, all of you can play around with this blog and share your experiences and share your thoughts in the. Yes, just give me 1 second, I'm just loading it here on the chat. Yes, I put the link of the blog. Let me see some of the questions. So someone is asking me, can you tell a little bit more about AI residency? So AI residency is our flagship cohort. So the thing is, all of us are learning AI in silos. We are just watching YouTube videos. We are just listening for to some videos, some social media influencers, some conferences that are there. But what is an AI residency? Is this is our right now our ninth cohort is running. As I just told you, we have few community members who are from the previous cohorts as well, like Barry, Murtaza, and Kareem, and everyone. But this is something that I have been working in academy for the last 10 years. We have been doing these type of programs. Before, we used to do for data scientists, data analysts, data engineers. In the last 2.5 years, we are focusing a lot on AI engineers. So if you see AI residency, what it means is putting everything into perspective, putting everything into one capsule with these 20 master classes. So we have 6 months period where we have some prerequisite work that is happening, like statistics, Python, and all those concepts. Then we go through 20 weeks where we go through different steps, right? Like if you go through this website, all of you can see these steps. We go through 20 master classes because you need to start from a journey. Today, I just gave you a small glimpse of what we do in MC04, a small glimpse, maybe 20 to 30% of the glimpse that we do in MC04. But here, if you have to go through a step by step MC00 to MC20, you get a whole understanding. And lot of questions that you guys are asking on the chat and on the things, it will get cleared through this platform. So this is like a cohort based system. The cohort 10, we have already started admitting for cohort 10. The cohort is starting on 11th of April 2026. But admissions have started. People have already started enrolling, doing the prerequisites, going through the recordings, understanding how things work. And then end of the day, they get the holistic knowledge about everything. So we have very small cohort of less than 10 people in our cohort, where we have it's a very personalized type of one-on-one learning, where we go into details. We try to hear from every one of you, and we go through these particular concepts. We have an LMS access as well. Once you register, you get the whole LMS access with all the recordings. Plus, there are a lot of self-paced recordings like what you discussed. So, AI Guild is just the recordings for people who really want to start exploring us. AI Guild is a very good platform to start exploring us. But if you want one-to-one mentorship, if you want to talk to the mentors, you want to talk to me, then you need to think about AI residency, where we get into 10th cohort, where we have, and I will share you this link as well. So this is something, Ahmed, I hope you get the details. I've shared it in the chat and understand what is it. Someone is asking what is the difference between AI residency and AI guild. So in one word, if I say, as I was just telling you, AI guild, and someone was asking about the costing, everything is available on the internet. You can take monthly membership as well just to explore the recordings and do the challenge. And for a small fee, you can just register, you can go and see the fee. It is approximately $10 or something if you take a yearly membership. So $10 is something that is very less for people to just start with. And then once you are comfortable with the concepts and you want to get a certification and all those concepts, there are Python certification is we have still included in the AI guild. You can get the Python essential certification with that. But if you want more certification like academy certification, then you need to think about, we have three programs in our academy. One is the AI residency, we have the AI builders, and the CAIO program, Chief AI Officer. This is for the business people who want to understand the business and how to use it in a proper manner. So these are the three things that are there in our thing. I've shared this link on the different platforms as well. Have a look at this. Show your interest if you wanted to apply, and the team will get in touch with you for the next steps that are there. So as I told you, someone is asking how accessible it is. It is a subscription model. You can even take for 1 month AI Guild, experiment with it, and I'm sure you will like it. And then you can take things further. So I've shared the link about this and taking it further. We have 28 more seconds. Let me just see if there is any more questions about there. How to differentiate between the LLMs. So start how to differentiate. So first you have to, I have shared you three resources. OpenAI. First you need to decide whether you want to use open source or closed source. Once you decide you want to use an closed source, then you need to select OpenAI. Just see the pricing and start going with. If you want closed open source, then you can go through Grok and you can select any available LLM and start experimenting. So there is no, first you need to select the two things. If it is then, because that is the most important thing. After that you can start selecting anything. And as I was telling you earlier, don't go for the expensive LLMs, like don't go for GPT 5.2 turbo. Go for a smaller LLM, see how your AI app is working, and then you upgrade it. Never start with the highest model because it's very, very costly. Similarly, for closed source, you can start with the open source models like GPT OS 200 billion parameters, depending upon your compute, how your computer can handle LLMs. Most of the computers require big GPUs, so you need to experiment. Start always with a smaller LLM. See how your app is working, and then progress to a larger LLM. But before that, you have to distinguish between a closed source and an open source LLM. Awesome. So thank you each and everyone of joining the session. Thank you everyone. I will just now, before I switch off the live streaming, thank you each and everyone. Thank you Ahmed, Barry, Iona, Patricia, everyone from joining from LinkedIn and YouTube, and thanks for all for your amazing questions and answers. We are going to keep an open mic in the Zoom chat for 5 minutes. So uh, if you have any questions, guys who are there on social media who are joining us, you can be part of our Zoom chat. That is a very better way of being part of this. You go to decodingdatascience.com, join us on our uh, LinkedIn, on our Zoom chat, where you have an option to be more closer to the community. Join the WhatsApp group, introduce yourself. I put the link on the chat. It's just decodingdatascience.com. And thank you each and every one of you who are listening to us on social media.